you. So it's a wonderful morning here in California where I live, and so I welcome everyone no matter what time zone you're in today. And I'm honored again to be returning for a second year to speak with CAI clients and for customers of the Great IT Professional Webinar Series. If you are leading, it's a great way to learn and earn PDUs. The presentation is entitled The Self-Aware Project Manager. The agenda will cover the following. It begins with you, emotional intelligence. And throughout my presentation, when you see EQ, I will be referring to it as emotional intelligence. Then emotional intelligence models will cover how to determine your level of EQ, self-awareness, and self-management. We'll discuss some EQ trends, benefits, and competencies. We'll review some key benefits of emotional intelligence for project managers from some thought leaders. Look and take a deep dive into some EQ research and PMI talent triangle. We'll talk about moving from good to great as project and program managers. Some of my tips to improve your EQ competencies. We'll review some resources and we'll wrap up with some questions. So I'd like to level set for the audience today. Goal is to share the latest research, trends, and just-in-time information so you can walk away with some tips you can immediately put into action. I'll only skim the surface on this important topic, so please jot your questions down throughout the presentation as you think of them. We will have some poll questions during the webinar so you can reflect on your questions, and Susan will facilitate the Q&A at the end of the presentation. If there happens to be a question I see pop up that we want to entertain, I will do so, but we have a lot of information to cover. So what makes a great emotionally intelligent project manager? Today it is essential that project and program managers spend time assessing their gaps and working on closing those gaps to become more proficient at emotional intelligence competencies and behaviors that are a key tenet of the PMI triangle. Tap into your potential, and it's just what great leaders do. So let's get started and learn more about emotional intelligence. Learning begins with you. Have a growth mindset to prepare yourself to reflect within and focus your growth so you can lead others. So do you think that your intelligence quotient or your IQ and not your emotional intelligence quotient is what is going to make you sustainably successful over the length of your career? Well, let's hold that thought and let's review at the end of the presentation. As project managers, every day you should focus on your leadership, partner with your customers to find solutions to their business problems, and strive to elevate the discipline of project management to add value. Mantra today of where our focus is. So let me share this great quote from Simon Sinek, who is a speaker and author of the book, Start With Why. The hardest lessons to learn when we get promoted to a position of leadership, that we are no longer responsible for doing the work, we are now responsible for the people who do the job. Leaders are responsible for the results and for the people that are required to produce these results. Get that right and everybody wins. So emotional intelligence has been studied over the years by leading psychologists, so let's learn who are the leaders in the field today. You can see a list of leaders on this slide, and over the last 20 to 30 years, psychologists and thought leaders in the field have developed theories, models, and have written books about emotional intelligence. There's even been more research out there than I even discovered until I started to dig into it. Project management is all about people, processes, and politics, I'd like to say. It's created by delivering results and outcomes through people. As project managers, we all have some degree of emotional intelligence that we use on our projects, programs, portfolios, and in your organizations, but studies are showing the increasing need to further develop this competency. Over the last few years, there have been emerging ideas from many expert psychologists and PMI studies. As you can see in the last few years, Nicholas Clark, Howell did a study, Travis Bradbury wrote a book early in 2009, but some of the latest research has come out of a study done by Pragco and the Leadership Community of Practice in 2012, and Anthony Mercino's book in 2013. Discussing some of the results of some of these studies throughout the presentation. So let's review some emotional intelligence models. Goleman wrote a book called Emotional Intelligence in 1995, and that was over 20 years ago, and it was hugely successful, and now it's a bestseller. Goleman wrote about 4 components of emotional intelligence, and this is from his book, and I really like how the chart addresses the self and social aspects as well as recognition and regulation. So clearly, you don't read a book about emotional intelligence or just take a webinar or read an article and apply it. Certainly, those are all good things to do to get a foundation of knowledge, but all leadership tenets and competencies must be studied, analyzed, and reflected on to determine how to put it into action and apply it daily. This presentation will be chock full of information, so consider downloading, reviewing, and reflecting on what I'm sharing with you today. Once you've done that, certainly come back to me with questions. So, do you know that you can determine your competency in emotional intelligence? So, consider as what to do and what not to do. You know that everyone has some level of emotional intelligence. Take tests or assessments to help validate your strengths and identify areas for improvement to get feedback from your network. That's certainly something you should do. But assume that your intelligence and education are enough and think you don't need training, a mentor, coach, or even a sponsor. Don't ignore feedback, blind spots, or your own emotions. Even if you can manage teams and complete your projects on time within budget, that doesn't mean that you're still successful when it comes down to leading more complex projects and really honing in those competencies that you need as you move through your career, if you plan on seeing. So let's review self-awareness. Awareness exactly. Expert and PMI fellow Anthony Mercino states that emotional intelligence is the first building block in our...
Hi there, I hope you enjoyed that last clip. My name is Michael Maludis, and if you'd like to watch the full 60 minutes of that last webcast, while also gaining complete unlimited access to our entire library of IT learning, simply visit our subscribe page at greatpro.org/subscribe. Unlimited annual access is $199 per year, but if you use the coupon code LEARN2EARN, you can drop that membership fee to just $149. That's less than $13 per month for unlimited access to over 1,000 hours of on-demand career development, covering the entire spectrum of IT management best practices, including business analysis and requirements, software development, quality and testing, risk management, process improvement, project management, and even digital transformation. But your membership doesn't just give you unlimited access to our vast learning library. You also get free access to our mobile app, as well as direct access to our network of over 300 of the world's leading IT consultants, all of whom are dedicated to putting practical knowledge at your fingertips so that you can learn more and earn more. I hope you will join me in becoming a member of the Great IT Professional and advancing your career with us. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button above so that you get notified whenever we publish new free webcasts each week of the year. Thank you for your time and best wishes for your continued success.